Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God. This is Mark. Check her out.
So hi guys, how are you doing? Today, as you can see from the top that I'm wearing, I want to talk about the new version, live action version of Beauty and the Beast. Now this film came out about a week ago now on the 17th of March 2017, and I finally got to see it a few days ago, and wow. I have done a lot of crazy things in my life before. I mean, I've gone to see the same film like 3 or 4 times in the cinema. I've gone to different cities for like different events. I've done a lot of crazy things. But one thing that I'd not yet done until recently is to go and see the same film in the cinema twice in the same day. Yes, everyone. Me, Sam for God, went to see Beauty and the Beast twice in the same day. Once in the early afternoon and once late at night, and it was amazing. I think by now a lot of you have hopefully seen the film yourself, and if you haven't, you really need to because it is incredible. But in this video I am going to talk about spoilers. I'm doing this because I don't really think they're necessarily spoilers, because if you've seen the cartoon version of Beauty and the Beast, you pretty much know what happens in the story anyway. Yes, the film version might have little bits and bobs added to it, or some of the things might be just a tiny bit different, but really, even if you know about them before you see the film, it's not going to affect your enjoyment of the film. Trust me. You have been warned though, just in case. So, Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 live-action film, is directed by Bill Condon and tells the story of Belle, as we all know. And fun fact, it's like almost twice as long as the original Disney film. This film is about 2 hours and maybe 10 minutes long. You don't even feel it though. Like, it's so good that 2 hours for me, well 4 hours in the same day, went by like this. I did not feel it. The reason it's significantly longer than the cartoon version is because of some added things. The story is just a bit more complex, I guess. Not even that really, it's just that for some reason this version of Beauty and the Beast decides to show you some extra bits and bobs about Belle, her mom, her story, her dad, the Beast. Things like that make the film a bit longer. Whether or not you think the things that they've added are necessary doesn't take away from the fact that they're very beautifully told. So I personally like them, you know. I didn't necessarily like care too much for them. Like, I didn't grow up all these years thinking, oh my god, I wonder what actually happened to Belle's mother. However, it was just a nice little thing to know about it. Like, I enjoyed the scenes. They were done nicely. And that's pretty much how I felt about most of the extra bits that they'd done to this film. I thought they were great. I liked them. I enjoyed them. And now we move on to the new songs. There are 4 new songs, I believe, in this film. I enjoyed all of them, like literally every single one of them. The Beast has a song called Evermore, and that seems to be like the most popular one of the 4 new songs. Everybody loves it, and I did as well. I thought it was a good storytelling song for the Beast. It made you really feel for him and see his style of things, and I don't know, really connect with him. And the guy that plays the Beast, which I'll get to that later, did a wonderful job. Very good job. There's a song called Aria, which is a very, very short song, and I really wish it was longer because it's sung beautifully, and that's sung by the wardrobe, you know, Guardrobe. Then there's a song called Days in the Sun, which is beautiful as well. Like, I got goosebumps, even though it's quite a short song as well, this one. But oh, I really enjoyed this one actually. This one's sung by different characters. Like, I think pretty much all the characters that are in the cast or in that scene sing it chronologically, and it's very touching. And then of course we've got How Does a Moment Last Forever, which is an absolutely beautiful song, and Celine Dion's version of it is just like, her voice, I do not understand. Celine Dion, literally, for me anyway, is the best female singer in the world. I adore her voice. I grew up listening to her. My mum loves her, and she does an amazing job with this song as well, and it's just, it really like touches your heart when you listen to it. So yep, I'm a fan of all the new songs. But of course it's not just about the new songs. Like, all the old kind of songs that we're used to and love from the classic are also in it. Belle's there, Beauty and the Beast, Gaston, Be Our Guest, like, they're all in there, don't you worry. But before I talk about the rest of the songs, I want to talk about the cast. Honestly, I thought everybody in this film was amazing. Like, the film itself as a whole is so incredible in every aspect that I genuinely find it hard to like point at certain cast members and be like, oh, I don't think I like how you did this thing. Like, I just loved everyone. But we're gonna start with Belle, which is played by Emma Watson. I love Emma Watson. Like, I grew up with Harry Potter. I mean, I read the books and then I watched all the films as they came out because I was basically the same age as Hermione. I'm the same age as Emma Watson as well. We're both 26, we're both 1990 kids. I very much connected with her, I guess, growing up, and still do. Like, I see her do all these incredible things as a feminist, as a woman actress, and she is amazing. Like, as a person, I genuinely respect her. I think she's amazing, and yeah, she has like a big place in my heart, just kind of for nostalgic reasons, for the fact that I very much connected with her as I was growing up. But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried when she got cast as Belle in this film, and I'd keep seeing like kind of trailers of it when they released them, and with every new trailer I kind of warmed to her more and more, and by the time I went to see the film I was pretty much kind of ready to just accept her and love her, and I knew what I I was getting myself into. Like, I knew already that, yes, her singing isn't the best. I'd heard parts of it in the trailer, I'd seen some of it, and I already knew what to expect from her singing wise, and I really didn't have much of an issue with that. Like, it is very obvious that she's been auto-tuned and that she is the weakest singer of all the cast members in the film, but it's not bad. Like, I promise you, it's not bad. At the end of the day, Emma Watson isn't a singer, really. She's an actress, so they've done the best they could with her vocals, and it sounds good for what it is. It doesn't sound incredible, but it sounds good. What I found surprising was that her acting, for me, was what lacked a little bit at times. So don't get me wrong, I did overall really liked her characterization of Belle. However, I didn't think it was perfect. I've heard a lot of people say on like social media and Twitter, like, oh my god, she's perfect as Belle, Emma Watson is the perfect Belle. I have to disagree with that, and that's not to say I don't like her, that's not to say she's bad, just that there were definitely moments in the film that I thought she could have done a better job with. Firstly, I think that overall, Emma Watson plays Belle very similar to Hermione Granger. And yes, I understand that obviously they're both played by the same actress and that Hermione Granger as a character is quite similar to Belle. I mean, they both love books, they're both strong women, they're both a bit sassy, but I don't know, I felt like there was something in Emma Watson's portrayal of Belle that didn't sit quite right with me with what I know of Belle from my childhood. Maybe it was a sweetness, like there was a bit of sweetness that was lost, and maybe that's a directional thing, maybe that's what she was told to do, I don't know. But for me, it just, I don't know, a tiny bit of her portrayal was a little bit off. But that's okay, like, because overall I did really enjoy it. The second thing that I didn't like about Emma Watson's portrayal is that in some scenes I felt like her acting was very minimal. And again, this could just be what they taught her to do. But for instance, I'll give you just an example. In the Be Our Guest scene, when Emma Watson / Belle is sat there at the table and she's literally being sung to by all these incredible objects, like putting on a show for her pretty much. And me and my friend Sharika, who I watched it with for the first time, were just sat there in our seats, like our mouths open, like, oh my god, this is amazing, like wow, like it is a beautiful scene. And yet our Belle, Emma Watson, is literally sat there physically experiencing it. So you'd expect her to be like, wow, oh my god, this is amazing. What does she do though instead? Literally, like, the most you get from her in that scene is like a tiny bit of a smile. And I don't know, but like, to me that just doesn't feel natural. A young girl being sat there and all of that stuff happening, you'd be a lot more like excited and surprised by it. And Emma Watson just didn't really show it, I guess, in the film. But that's just one of my problems. I felt that in a lot of the other scenes as well. One thing that my friend Sharika, who is an actress herself, noticed and said is that in a lot of the scenes, the way Emma Watson acts them is almost like she's already there. Like, for instance, if she's having like a conversation with Gaston and a certain feeling is meant to be sparked towards the end of that conversation because of that conversation, instead of it being kind of gradual for Emma Watson, she kind of starts out with those emotions already in her acting, which just makes it a little bit unbelievable, because that's just not how people are. Like, you don't go into kind of moments already knowing what's going to happen at the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of be in the moment, and it sometimes felt like Emma Watson's acting wasn't in the moment. It's almost like she acted things because she already knew what was going to happen later. It's very complicated to explain, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Overall though, I did really enjoy her performance. I saw her twice, obviously. And the second time round, I was a bit more content with her acting, I think, because I just knew what I was expecting, so I just enjoyed it a lot more. She definitely looks like Belle. She looks gorgeous in the dresses. Although I don't think she was completely the Belle of my childhood, she definitely had added some things to Belle that I genuinely enjoyed and appreciated. Honestly, I think she's a great Belle, just not perfect. But if you were to ask me, oh, well, Sam, who else would you have cast instead of Emma Watson? No one. I literally cannot think of anybody else I could have cast instead of Emma Watson. So there you go. I'm not saying she was bad, just that I expected a bit more from her in some of the scenes and I didn't quite get them. Moving on from her, the Beast is played by Dan Stevens. I don't think I'd ever seen Dan Stevens in anything before, because his most famous and recent role, I think, was in Downton Abbey, and I don't really watch that, so he was a new actor for me, I guess, in a way, and he was really good. I loved him as the Beast. In fact, as with the cartoon version, when he changed to the Prince at the end, I was like, I kind of wish you could stay as the Beast, because you were just that little bit more attractive somehow as the Beast. Don't worry guys, I'm not into bestiality. I thought his acting was great both as the Beast and when he turns into human. His voice was amazing. He did a great job in the new song, and I thought he had really good chemistry with Emma Watson as Belle as well. Really enjoyed the scenes where him and Belle are bonding and kind of starting to like each other a bit more and joking around. I thought they were really funny and kind of subtle and really cute. Great performances from both Dan and Emma Watson in those scenes. Gaston! let's talk about Gaston. I really didn't know what to expect with Gaston, but I absolutely loved Luke Evans' portrayal of Gaston. I thought he was excellent. Gaston in this live action film is a little bit more evil, I guess, than he is in the cartoon version. However, in the beginning of it as well, he's somehow a bit more likable, if you could say that. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just because it's Luke Evans and I kind of fancy the guy. But in any case, I really enjoyed kind of the transformation that Gaston goes through from the beginning to the end. I thought Luke Evans did an excellent job, and his voice as well. Who knew? He's an amazing singer. Then we've got LeFou, played by Josh Gad. Now, Josh Gad is one of the most talented people in the world, I would say. For those of you who might not know, he's actually like a Broadway star. He used to be in Book of Mormon on Broadway, and I've seen Book of Mormon, so I know exactly what character he played, and I really wish I could have seen him in the role because I can only imagine how hilariously incredible he would have been in it. But of course, he's not just done Broadway shows, he's also been in some films before, like with that very overly popular, famous recent film that we all love to hate, Frozen. He was the voice of Olaf, and it's so nice to see him in another Disney film as his actual self, be incredible. Like, he brings so much life to LeFou. He's so good. Like, any scene that Josh Gad is in, you just can't stop watching him. He's fantastic, his voice is amazing, he's funny, he's likable. I just love the guy, and also his chemistry with Gaston, Luke Evans, was amazing. Kevin Kline, he plays Belle's dad in the film. Lord have mercy, his acting is phenomenal. Sometimes, honestly, when I was watching Kevin Kline on the screen, it almost felt like I was watching a completely different film to what the rest of the cast were playing in, because his acting is just so strong. Like, he really is everything I would have wanted from Maurice, a character that you wouldn't even necessarily care about too much, but because of how Kevin Kline plays him, he's a big part of the film in my opinion, and he's got really good chemistry again with Emma Watson as well, so that was really good to watch as well. Okay, now let's get to the characters in the Beast's castle. Ewan McGregor as Lumiere, he was excellent. His comic timing, the accent, the voice, his expressions, everything about him was perfect. Cogsworth, Ian McKellen, oh my god, especially at the end of the film when he turns into himself. Like, he's got a very funny line that I think both times that I saw the film got a big laugh. Like, he is just amazing as well. Him as Cogsworth and Ewan McGregor as Lumiere have a great bond, and it's just so joyous to watch them both. Even though they're literally objects, their voices just bring so much to the characters, and it's just a pleasure, guys. It's just so nice to watch. Then we've got Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts, and with her, I'm not gonna lie, it took a little bit longer to get used to it, just because of Angela Lansbury. I mean, she's such a legend, I guess, that it was a bit hard for me to kind of forget Angela Lansbury's voice and get used to a new voice. However, as the film progressed, I was like, I love this new Mrs. Potts, and Emma Thompson's voice as well for Mrs. Potts is great, and she's just such a perfect kind of motherly figure that has a bit of comedy and sweetness. You just cannot help but like that little teapot, and I don't even like tea. Chip as well was played by a young actor called Nathan Mack, and his voice was also great. He had some very sweet moments that just kind of made me and Shamika both like, aww. There's two more characters that I want to talk about, and of course that's Madame Garderobe and Monsieur Cadenza. Madame Garderobe, Lord have mercy, she was played by Audra McDonald. Now, if you don't know who Audra McDonald is, you need to find that out, and you need to be researching her stuff, because she used to be one of my idols as a young child. I first discovered Audra McDonald when I was about 9 or 10. She played the role of Grace in Disney's version of the musical Annie, and you need to watch that. Like, if you haven't watched it, if you've only watched the original version of Annie, you are missing out, because Disney's version of Annie, in my opinion, is much better, or it could just be because I grew up watching that one. In any case, Audra McDonald's performance in it is fantastic, and you need to watch it. She is a Broadway legend. She's won like at least 3 or 4 Tony Awards, which are the equivalent of Olivia Awards in the UK. They're basically the Oscars of theatre, if you didn't know, and she is phenomenal. She's incredible in this as well. Her voice is insane. Like, whenever she sings, you just like immediately get taken to somewhere else, because her voice is on such a high level in terms of quality compared to everyone else in the film, and that doesn't mean that nobody else can sing. Like, they can all sing well, but Audra McDonald's voice is just something else, and I just wish she had more songs to sing in this, because she's amazing. And her accent as well as the wardrobe, she's just I love that woman. Then we've got Stanley Tucci, who plays Cadenza. He was fantastic as well. Great voice, hilarious. Him and Audra McDonald had great chemistry, as pretty much all the cast did. Yeah, I thought they all did an incredible job. Now, I know that I've been like gushing over this film for long enough already. However, I have just a few more things to say. The cinematography in this film help me, because it is beautiful. Honestly, like, having seen it twice in the same day, my eyes were so happy. I'm pretty sure that night my eyes literally went to me, yo Sam, thank you so much for this great day that you've given us. We have watched a lot of beautiful things today. This film is honestly like a stunning piece of art and a present to your eyes. The colours, the way the cameras move in some of the scenes. That scene where Belle is on top of that hill and like the camera work is just insane. Well done to the people who worked on it. Like, I am envious of you. And then the CGI stuff as well. Amazing. Wow, it's incredible what technology can do these days. I sometimes wish that Walt Disney, the man himself, was still alive so he could see all this, because it's just amazing. It really is. The only tiny little bit of thing that I had a bit of a problem with at times was the Beast. Like, I genuinely loved him and how they'd created him in CGI form. However, sometimes in just a few of the scenes, I felt like maybe his CGI was a bit too computery. Like, I don't know. It was such a small little bit of an issue that I had. I don't even think it's worth mentioning, because generally speaking, all the CGI stuff was amazing, and I loved how they did the Beast as well. I also loved how they did all the designs, in fact. When I first saw the designs for Cogsworth and Lumiere, I was a bit like, this is kind of quite different to the cartoon versions. Wasn't too sure about it, but in the film, when you see them talk, when they're actually brought to life, you can't help but love them. They're amazing. Well done to the designers, the dresses as well, all the costumes. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Emma Watson's yellow dress as well. I thought it looked beautiful. Like, it's obviously not the exact same version that you see in the cartoon, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful enough for me anyway. And that whole scene, the Beauty and the Beast scene, honestly, like, it's just so magical. And I'm not the biggest romantic film fan, but that romance that you see in that film with the song, oh, I loved it so much. Like, it honestly touched me a lot more than the cartoon version does. And speaking of moments that I either felt like crying or actually genuinely did cry, the bit towards the end where all the antique characters, Lumiere, Cogsworth, the wardrobe, all these characters slowly start to lose their sense of being a human and kind of die, I guess, and go back to just being objects. Lord have genuine mercy, because I was in tears both times. Like, what is this, Disney? Only Disney can make you feel so sad because of objects dying. I couldn't believe it. I was more sad for them than for the Beast. And that just shows how great of a job Disney has done with this film, because you genuinely care about all these characters. And oh my god, if you're going to see this film, please take tissues with you. You'll need them. But yeah, that is it. These are all the thoughts that I want to share with you, I guess, about the new version of Beauty and the Beast. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's been a long time since I've loved a film so much. I mean, I've already seen it twice, but I genuinely want to go and see it again, like, every day. My friend Sharika loved it. My parents, as well as my granddad, loved it as well, because I went with them the second time round on the same day. And my dad loved it. Like, my dad generally hates musicals. And that night, he was really tired. He'd just finished work. When I told him what the film was that we were going to see, he was like, oh, thank God I can sleep then, because he's just not interested in musicals. However, he stayed up for the whole thing even though he was very tired, and he genuinely loved it. Like, he was fangirling over the film at the end, and that doesn't happen very often, so go and see it. If that doesn't sell it to you, I don't know what does. Of course, my mum absolutely loved it as well. She loved Celine Dion, she loves Beauty and the Beast anyway. She loved all the designs in it because she's an artist. She enjoyed it, my granddad loved it, we all loved it. But that's the end of this video, guys. Leave comments down below if you've seen the film. Let me know what you thought of it, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!